Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a new Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls video. Today I'm gonna be going over a really good level 70 build for the Crusader. Now maybe you aren't looking for a Crusader build, but you might be looking for maybe a wizard or a monk one. Make sure to check the links right below that like button in the description below. It will take you straight to the, the proper build that you're actually looking for. Now it's important to note that the build that we're going to be discussing in this video is going to indeed be a softcore build. So if you're a hardcore player, make sure to have a look at it. However, you might want to change a couple of abilities around, just so you get some more survivability. Now, as with most classes in Diablo 3 currently, you really need to be focusing on some sort of elemental damage, because simply put, you usually will reach 1 million DPS quite easily. After that, however, it becomes really tricky to do more damage, simply because the modifiers on your gear don't really go all that high. Now, to actually deal more damage, you're gonna have to look for items that deal a specific damage to certain elementals. Now in this build, we're going to be focusing mostly on abilities that deal bonus damage to lightning. Meaning that if you, for example, have bracers that deal extra damage to lightning, you will just straight up, deal extra damage to lightning. So it is very important that you find gear with this build that is actually doing bonus damage to lightning, because we are pretty much losing only lightning abilities. I wonder how often I said the word lightning so far in this video. Anyways, this build is good for both soloing as well as for group play. I've personally had absolutely no issues whatsoever clearing Torment number 1 with this guide, and hopefully you will be able to find yourself doing that as well. Okay, so let's first off have a look at my gear. Now my gear is nowhere near perfect whatsoever. I currently am at 863,000 DPS, 8.5 million toughness and 7,000 healing, and with this combined I have 650,000 health. Now honestly my toughness is a little bit high and my damage is a little bit low, so ideally I would like to even those two out. However, keep in mind that some of my gear actually deals bonus damage to lightning, such as these Reaper wraps right here. That means that most of my abilities will deal 15% more damage. Now it's important to note that I have obtained this gear in pretty much the course of only a few days, and my weapon is honestly quite terrible, so there's a big chance you will be able to outdo me in damage and toughness very quickly. So here we are with the actual build. First off, it is going to be Justice with Burst, there's Blessed Hammer with Thunderstruck, Steed Charge with Endurance, Judgments with Resolved, Laws of Valor with Critical, Akarat's Champion with Hasteful, and for the passives, we got Heavenly Strength, Finery, Wrathful, and Righteousness. So these are the abilities that I'm using. Let's take an in-depth look at each and every one of them. First off, we have Justice with Burst. Now Justice with Burst is used mostly for the stun, but also because it deals lightning damage, and all in all is just a really solid Wrath builder for ability number 2. If you don't like this ability, however, there's a couple of changes you could make. For example, you could go for Smite with Shared Fate, or even for Punish with Fury, which also deals bonus damage to lightning. Next up, we have the actual damage dealing ability in this build. It is going to be Blessed Hammer with Thunderstruck. This is an extremely strong ability that I would definitely recommend you give a try. Now, if you really don't like this ability, you could change it out. Maybe you prefer Blessed Shield with Staggering Shield. However, I would really stick around with Blessed Hammer, to be honest. Next up, we have an ability that you could change around. However, I really like the mobility that this gives. Basically, what it allows you to do is run around and jump between packs much faster. However, if you're fighting in groups a whole lot and you don't really need the mobility, you could change this one out maybe for Provoke, if you decide to use so. Next up, we have Judgment with Resolved, and this is honestly just a straight up damage dealing ability. I use this one on pretty much every single cooldown because of the extra critical hit chance that you have whenever that happens. Next up, we have Laws of Valor with Critical. This is an ability that's extremely strong. However, if you're in a group, and for example you're playing with another Crusader as well, you might want to swap this one out for Laws of Justice or Laws of Hope. And also, if you're a hardcore player, you might want to switch out Laws of Valor as well. But this is just a straight up damage increasing ability that I would start with if I were you. And last but not least, we have arguably the strongest cooldown that the Crusader has. It is Akarat's Champion with Hasteful. Gain 15% increased attack speed while Akarat's Champion is active. And this is just an extremely strong ability that allows you to deal tons and tons of damage. However, a rune that you might want to take a look at as well is Akarat's Champion with the rune Rally, which just straight up reduces the cooldown of all of your other abilities. As far as the passives go, you do have a couple of changes that you might want to be making. Now first off, I would pretty much always play with Heavenly Strength. You can wield a two-handed weapon in your main hand while wearing a shield in your offhand. This is just an extremely good ability, and ever since the latest patch, it got even better. Next up we have Finery, gain 1.5% strength for every gem socketed into your gear. This is also pretty much a no-brainer, a very strong ability, as long as you do indeed have sockets in your gear. If you don't have this one, you might want to check out something else. Such as for example Hold Your Ground, which is just a really nice defensive ability. Next up we have Wrathful, and Wrathful is an ability that allows you to stay alive for much longer, and just one of these things that I wouldn't really change. However, if you feel like you aren't dying whatsoever, you might want to check out another ability. For example, Lord Commander will allow you to rush between packs much faster, simply because your steed isn't on cooldown as long. Last but not least, we are going to be running Righteousness. This will just allow you to generate extra wrath with your primary ability, which is your left mouse button, meaning that you can spam the Blessed Hammer more often. Now, how is the playstyle with this build? Well, honestly, it is really easy. Most of the time what you are trying to get up is your Blessed Hammer. Your Blessed Hammer, holding down your right mouse button, will generate the most damage for sure. However, obviously, oftentimes you will not have enough wrath to keep doing that. So what you will need as well is to use your left mouse button to generate more wrath in order for you to use your right mouse button once again. Meanwhile, the Judgment ability should be used on pretty much every single cooldown because it allows you to have extra critical hit chance versus all enemies. As far as Akarat's Champion and Laws of Valor goes, I would activate those as soon as you see an elite pack. So most of the time what happens is that you're running around, you're trying to kill stuff, and as soon as you need the damage dealing cooldowns, you will use them right away. Akarat's Champion is definitely one that you should be using as often as possible while still saving it for elite packs. And like I mentioned already, Steed Charge is very useful to run between packs and to make sure that you're trying to minimize the downtime that you are having when you are playing a Crusader, and it just allows you to be very mobile. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Definitely one of the most fun builds to play around with in Diablo 3. I would definitely recommend you give it a try. Try and get as much gear that deals bonus damage to lightning, and hopefully you will be able to also easily roll tournament number 1 and higher. Now if you enjoyed the video, please let me know with a thumbs up right below. I would really appreciate it, and if you want to see more content, make sure to subscribe. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome to a new StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm video. Today we're gonna be focused